Sure, here's a simple retro-style melody in the key of E minor. This melody uses the notes of the E natural minor scale and has a repeating pattern of 4 notes in each measure. You can experiment with different rhythms and variations to make the melody your own. Sure, I can suggest some chords that might work well with a melody in E minor. Here are a few options: E minor, G, D, A minor. This is the same chord progression I suggested earlier, but it's worth repeating because it's a very common progression in E minor and can work well with a variety of melodies. E minor, C, G, D. This is another common progression in E minor, and it has a slightly different feel than the first one. It's often used in folk and pop music. E minor, B minor, A minor, D. This progression has a slightly darker, more melancholic feel. It's often used in ballads and slower songs. E minor, A, D, G. This is a more upbeat progression that can work well for more lively melodies. It has a slightly folky feel and is often used in country and bluegrass music. E minor, F sharp minor, G, AM. This progression has a more unusual sound, as it uses the F sharp minor chord, which is not in the E minor scale. However, it can create an interesting and unique feel that might work well with certain melodies. Of course, these are just a few suggestions, and there are many other chord progressions that could work well with a melody in E minor. Ultimately, the best way to find the right chords for your melody is to experiment and see what sounds good to your ear. Sure, here's a more complex version of the retro-style melody in the key of E minor. This melody still uses the same notes of the E natural minor scale, but it adds more complexity by using longer and more varied phrases. The melody also has some more challenging intervals, such as the descending half step from G to F sharp in the third line. You can use the same chord progression to accompany this more complex melody, or try experimenting with other chord progressions that fit the melody.